Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep into Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunter world this time.
Always exciting.
It is. Specifically, we've got excerpts from Clockwork Princess.
A fascinating choice.
Right. There's so much to unpack: secrets, forbidden romance.
And Clockwork Creatures, of course.
Can't forget those. Now, what struck me right away is how we're dropped into the middle of things.
Absolutely. But you quickly sense this rich history, complex relationships.
Exactly, like you're already part of their world. So we've got Will, Jem, and Tessa, our main trio.
All caught in this web of love and loyalty.
And to make things even more intense, Will and Jem are parabatai.
Ah, yes, that profound bond between Shadowhunters.
Like warrior soulmates, right. Even marked by a magical rune.
More than just a cool concept, though, it really shapes Will's actions throughout.
How so?
Well, he's fiercely protective of Jem, especially since Jem's battling this mysterious illness.
Right, and relying on Yinfen just to survive.
A dangerous drug, to be sure. And then Tessa arrives, throwing everything into turmoil.
This love triangle is no joke.
The longing is palpable,
And then you've got Mortmain and his clockwork army looming over everything.
which really heightens the stakes of their personal struggles.
For sure. Now, Mortmain, what a villain.
He's incredibly manipulative, exploiting Tessa's unique abilities and her family history to his advantage.
And it's not just about defeating the Shadowhunters, is it?
No, he wants to undermine their very foundations.
And that reveal about Tessa's true heritage.
A complete game changer.
Suddenly, she's not just an ordinary girl caught in the crossfire.
Right, she's deeply connected to this world in ways she never imagined.
Speaking of connections, what about these clockwork creatures? They're terrifying.
And immune to Shadowhunter weapons, no less.
Which puts our heroes at a serious disadvantage.
Clare made a clever choice there. Forces the Shadowhunters to adapt, think outside the box.
You see that during the battle at Kader Idris?
They're outnumbered, outgunned, but they show incredible ingenuity and bravery.
That battle is intense. So much at stake.
And Tessa's abilities become crucial.
Yeah, she's not fully a Shadowhunter, not fully anything else. The battle really forces her to confront who she is.
And the power she possesses.
But even after defeating Mortmain, there are scars, right?
Absolutely, both physical and emotional. Will is particularly devastated.
His parabatai, Jem, chooses to become a silent brother.
A profound sacrifice.
It speaks volumes about their bond. And Tessa.
She decides to stay in the Shadowhunter world.
Even after everything she's been through.
A significant choice, highlighting the idea of finding belonging even amidst trauma.
But can she truly find happiness there? Especially with all the loss?
It's a question that lingers. And then there's the Lightwood family.
Oh boy, they've got their own drama going on.
A powerful family, yet riddled with internal conflicts. Gabriel and Gideon having to confront their father's secrets.
Benedict Lightwood, right? Involved with Mortmain, his descent into madness.
And let's not forget the demon pox.
It adds this layer of horror to the narrative.
Making you question where evil truly resides.
Benedict's transformation is particularly chilling.
It reflects the potential for corruption, even within the supposedly noble Shadowhunter community.
Then you've got Jessamine back at the Institute after her betrayal.
A complex character, seeking redemption. But is it genuine?
And Sophie, the maid, she's surprisingly brave.
She challenges the social hierarchy, proving heroism can come from anywhere.
Her relationship with Gideon adds another layer to the Lightwood family dynamics.
Speaking of relationships, remember that unexpected romance we mentioned?
Oh, yes. After Jem becomes a silent brother.
Tessa and Will find solace in each other.
Before we dive into that, let's really unpack what's happening here. The emotional stakes are so high.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the power of love, but also raises ethical questions.
Especially with Will's parabatai bond with Jem.
It's a messy, complicated situation, blurring the lines of love and loyalty.
It makes you think about where those boundaries lie.
And the consequences when they're crossed. But beyond this forbidden romance, there's another secret lurking.
Tessa's mysterious heritage.
It's even more tangled than we initially thought. We were talking about Tessa's heritage, but there's another problem too, right?
The console.
Exactly. He's completely refusing to acknowledge the threat Mortmain poses.
So focused on London.
Convinced that's where the attack will be.
Protecting the Institute there, yeah.
But it's like he's missing the bigger picture.
Blinded by fear, maybe?
Possibly. He's fixated on what he sees as threats. Tessa, Charlotte's leadership.
But ignoring the real danger.
Exactly. So Charlotte, does she just stand by?
What can she do?
She tries to reason with him, sends a desperate letter.
Outlining the threat?
Yes, pleading for support for Starkweather.
Yeah.
But remember Gabriel and Gideon spying on her.
Oh yeah, those Lightwood brothers. What happens there?
It all comes to a head. They reveal the consul's manipulation,
Wow.
and they declare their loyalty to the Institute,
No more betrayal.
refusing to betray Charlotte. A bold move.
It takes courage to stand up like that.
It shows a shift in their understanding of loyalty, of family.
How?
They realize true loyalty isn't blind obedience,
It's about standing up for what's right.
even when it's difficult.
Oh,
And family. It's not just blood.
it's about who you choose to stand with.
Exactly. They've broken free from their father's shadow, forged their own path.
And their actions have a ripple effect.
On Sophie, for instance,
Oh, right. She wants to be a shadow hunter.
Gideon proposes to her.
Such a sweet moment.
It shows that love and support can be found in the most unexpected places.
Transcending those rigid social structures.
Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, love finds a way.
What about Cecily? Will's sister.
She's come a long way.
From wanting to drag Will back to Yorkshire,
Right. Embraced the shadow hunter world, grown so much.
found her own purpose.
Instead of forcing Will back, she decides to return to support her parents.
Respecting his choices.
A mature decision, showing how much she's learned.
But amidst all this, Will's struggling, isn't he?
Haunted by Jem's absence, burdened by guilt.
And the Clockwork Angel.
It starts acting strangely,
How
pulsing with a red light whenever Will's near,
creepy.
even leaving a mark on his skin.
Okay, that's both intriguing and a little unsettling.
Foreshadowing, perhaps,
Here's the angel's true nature.
and its connection to Tessa's destiny. Mortmain claimed it held a bit of an angel's spirit.
And the strange behavior seems to support that.
There's definitely more to it than meets the eye.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens next?
Does anyone try to figure it out?
While Charlotte waits for the consul, Will takes matters into his own hands,
Of course he does.
driven by guilt and love for Tessa.
He sets off on his own.
A dangerous solo mission to find her.
Risky, going up against Mortmain alone.
How will he even find her?
Good question.
He follows Mortmain's trail, using his skills, any clues Tessa might have left.
Makes sense.
He faces obstacles, werewolves, robotomatons,
Werewolves.
even a terrifying run-in with Mrs. Black,
Oh, right. The disembodied head.
working for Mortmain, of course.
Sorry.
She tries to manipulate Will, revealing Mortmain's plan
Which is...
to marry Tessa, use her power to destroy the Shadowhunters.
That's terrifying.
Will must be frantic.
But his journey's not over.
He encounters Woolsey Scott,
The werewolf leader.
the very same. Will's impulsiveness gets him into trouble.
But he's also resourceful.
He is. So does he find Tessa?
That's what I want to know.
He tracks her down, a remote farmhouse in Wales.
He did it.
But as he arrives, she discovers she's been taken,
Oh, no. By Mortmain.
and his Clockwork army. A frustrating setback.
To say the least. What about back at the Institute?
Things take a turn for the worse.
Why app?
Charlotte receives devastating news.
What is it?
The consul has convened a council meeting, stripped her of her authority.
What? But why?
He's still fixated on London, sees Charlotte's support of Starkweather as weakness,
And Tessa,
using it as an excuse to remove her from power.
more concerned with his own authority than the real threat,
His actions expose the flaws within the club.
where personal agendas trump safety.
Exactly. So the council meeting,
What happens there?
interrupted in the most dramatic way possible.
How?
Mortmain attacks.
He was right about the attack, but
But focused on the wrong things, left the council vulnerable.
misplaced priorities, disastrous consequences. What now? Any hope left?
Back at the Institute, Henry's finished his invention,
The portal.
the one that can transport Shadowhunters.
Their chance to reach Tessa, stop Mortmain.
Their only hope. But it's still experimental. There are risks.
Do they take the chance?
They do, but not alone. They gather their allies.
The Lightwood brothers.
Sophie, Cicely, Bridget, even Silent Brothers, led by Brother Zachariah,
Wow, everyone's coming together.
and Magnus, of course, to operate the portal.
It's like the final showdown.
United in their determination to save Tessa, protect their world.
Defying the clave, facing unimaginable danger.
Exactly. But wait, what about Will?
Miles away, wasn't he?
He was. But his Clockwork Angel, remember?
Reacting strangely.
That connection was Mortmain's doing,
It led Will to Tessa.
but not in the way he expected. It was a trap.
The angel, a tracking device.
Mortmain wanted them both there for his grand finale.
To use Will's love against him.
He's a master manipulator. So Will's already there when the others arrive.
Through the portal.
He's been forced to watch Mortmain's plan unfold.
Helplessly.
But their arrival shifts the balance of power.
They've got Magnus, the Silent Brothers.
They have a fighting chance.
Shadow hunters against Clockwork. Magic against technology, love against vengeance.
A conflict that goes beyond good and evil.
The fate of the Shadowhunter world hanging in the balance.
Choices, legacies, love, sacrifice. It all comes down to this.
Last we left off, our heroes had just arrived through the portal right into Mortmain's lair.
Ready to face his Clockwork army? Rescue Tessa.
The tension was so thick.
They emerge into this vast cavern hidden within the mountains.
Sounds impressive.
Eerie beauty, technological wonder,
Yeah.
filled with his creation's clockwork creatures, strange devices.
Like a twisted Shadowhunter workshop.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But there's no time to admire the scenery.
Right, they're thrown into battle immediately.
Against those clockwork soldiers.
An all-out war? Everyone fighting together.
Shadowhunters, Silent Brothers, Magnus, even Sophie.
Against those indestructible automatons.
It's a chaotic fight, intense. The Shadowhunters are skilled.
But those automatons are relentless.
Even Magnus's magic struggles against their armor.
Everyone pushed to their limits.
To survive. Will's at the forefront, desperate to save Tessa.
Cecily fighting alongside him.
Proving her skills. Gideon and Gabriel working together.
Defending the others.
They've grown so much.
It's really amazing to see.
Their journey embodies the power of family.
Blood and chosen.
But then tragedy strikes.
What happens?
Henry's mortally wounded, protecting Tessa.
Oh no, not Henry.
Charlotte's devastated, of course.
But she's strong, a capable leader.
She focuses on finding a way to save them both.
Henry and Tessa.
It's what she does best. But how can they possibly turn things around?
With Henry injured, Tessa still captive.
This is where that connection between Will and the Angel comes in.
Hi, Clockwork Angel.
It's more significant than anyone realized.
Okay, tell me everything.
The battle reaches its climax. Mortmain brings Tessa before everyone,
Gloat.
boasting about his victory, his plans to use her to destroy the Shadowhunters.
And then
Just when all hope seems lost, the Angel awakens.
it comes to life.
It reveals its true form, a powerful angel named Ithuriel.
An actual angel.
Trapped inside the Clockwork Angel, his spirit bound by Mortmain's magic.
So the angel was a prison.
Exactly. And Ithuriel, now free, unleashes his power,
Against Mortmain.
destroying him and his entire army in an instant.
Just like that, they win.
The battle is won, but not without losses.
What do you mean?
Henry succumbs to his injuries, despite Magnus's best efforts.
That's so sad.
A heartbreaking loss, a reminder of the cost of this fight.
Even in victory, they're sacrificed.
And what about Tessa?
Yeah, what happens to her?
She's safe, but the experience of channeling Ithuriel's power leaves her shaken.
Understandably.
Back at the Institute, the Silent Brothers help her heal.
Try to explain what happened.
It's a life-altering experience. As she recovers, she has to make a choice.
About her future.
What does she want her life to look like now?
Does she stay with the Shadowhunters?
She's formed connections, but she's still an outsider.
Not a true Shadowhunter by blood.
And some are still wary of her because of her heritage.
It must be so frustrating.
But she has allies, Will, who supports her.
And Jem.
She has a chance to reconnect with him.
He's allowed to visit her.
Charlotte uses her influence.
So they see each other again.
It's bittersweet. They still care deeply.
But things have changed.
Their lives have taken different paths.
You can't erase the past.
Exactly. But their reunion also highlights Will's love.
How so?
He sees them together, realizes he can't stand in the way of their happiness.
Even though it breaks his heart.
He's learned to put their needs before his own desires.
He's matured so much.
And this isn't the end of their story. Will decides to go on a journey.
Where to?
To deliver Jem's family sword to his relatives.
So way to process his grief.
To find closure. But on this journey, he realizes something.
About Tessa.
He can't deny his love for her any longer.
So he goes back to the Institute.
He does, but he doesn't tell her directly. He leaves her a letter,
A love letter.
confessing his feelings.
That's so romantic.
Tessa finds it in the library.
What's her reaction?
She's overwhelmed. She's always loved him,
But buried those feelings.
out of loyalty to Jem. Now with Jem gone, Will's love out in the open, she has to confront her own desires.
So what does she do?
She seeks out Will. They finally talk openly.
About their feelings.
A pivotal moment for them both.
And then,
They're interrupted by the arrival of Will's parents.
what a surprise.
It was a joyous occasion. They thought he was dead.
So they were overjoyed to see him.
They came to offer condolences for Henry, but they also sensed something special.
Between Will and Tessa.
They encouraged them to be
Did
together
they approve?
completely.
Oh.
They see the love, understand life is precious,
Love shouldn't be wasted.
especially after so much loss.
So do Will and Tessa get their happy ending?
They do. Will proposes, and Tessa says yes.
That's wonderful.
They deserve all the happiness in the world.
What about Jem? Does he find peace?
His life as a silent brother is one of service, sacrifice.
He's not the same Jem.
But he finds purpose, his new role. He still cares for them. Their happiness brings him solace.
A bittersweet ending.
But he finds meaning in his new life. And the book gives us a glimpse into the future.
Oh, what do you mean?
We see their wedding, the family they build.
Will and Tessa.
Years later, children, grandchildren, to their love story continuing.
That's beautiful.
And we learn Jem keeps his promise to Tessa.
The one about visiting her every year.
On the anniversary of their first meeting, their bond, though changed, is still strong.
A testament to their love and friendship.
The power of those connections, even in extraordinary circumstances.
It leaves us with hope.
Hope and optimism.
So after this deep dive into Clockwork Princess,
What are the key takeaways?
what do you want our listeners to remember?
It's a story about love, loss, human connection, about family, legacies, choices. A reminder that even in darkness, hope exists.
And love can overcome anything.
Well said. If you haven't already, I highly recommend exploring Clockwork Princess.
It's a story that stays with you. And as a final thought for our listeners, does true love always require sacrifice?
That question echoes throughout the story.
Will, Jem, Tessa all making sacrifices?
It makes you think about what we do for those we love.
The different ways sacrifice can manifest?
Sometimes letting go, sometimes holding on.
Finding that balance between the two?
Something to consider in our own lives.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Clockwork Princess.
We've explored its secrets, uncovered its depths.
hopefully left you with something to think about.
Until next time.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those minds engaged.